Ben Thompson. I'm the second organic affirmative.
I'm Shia Clark, and I'm the third organic affirmative.
And I'm Anna Holm, and I'm the first organic affirmative.
I'm Sabrina Egger, and I'm representing transgender.
I'm Shannon Foley, and I'm representing transgender. I'm Paige Hotchkiss-Siegelman, and I will be defending transgenic agriculture.
Organic. No prohibited pesticides, no synthetic fertilizers, and no GMOs. That was how everyone grew, bought, and ate their food until the 1950s when the Green Revolutions introduced monocultures, pesticides, and high inputs of water, petroleum, and fertilizer. Of everything within an agricultural ecosystem, including the organisms in the soil, the crops, and us. It developed an approach to farming that doesn't degrade or destroy the environment. The purpose of this debate is to determine how we're going to feed 9 billion people sustainably. The key word in this question is sustainability. Organic is the only type of agriculture that accomplishes this goal. It doesn't just provide food, but it helps protect the environment. Well, why is protecting the environment so important? Well, it allows us as humans to live on Earth, and by sustaining it, we will ensure that our great-grandchildren will be able to live on Earth too. Organic farming does this by improving and sustaining the health of the soil, promoting biodiversity, helping reduce climate change, and conserving water and energy. Soil. It's very simple. Healthy soil with plenty of nutrients equals healthy plants, which makes it more available for us to consume. Soil is the key to harvesting and securing any crop. Without it, we wouldn't have food. That's why it's extremely important for us to protect our soil and keep it fertile. Organic farming practices sustainability in many ways, and one of them is soil conservation. According to the Soil Association in 2013, one way that organic does this is by using animal manure, green manure, and compost to enrich the soil.
Point of information. You said earlier that organic agriculture does not use synthetic pesticides. Rotenone was a pesticide used for decades in organic farming that was considered natural and safe because it was derived from the roots of a number of subtropical plants. However, research from Cornell University in 2009 found rotenone to be dangerous, causing a number of diseases and even deadly. So although your pesticides are considered natural, they have been proven to be even more harmful than conventional pesticides. How can you justify this?
I didn't say synthetic pesticide, it said prohibited pesticide. According to the USDA, the organic seal verifies that radiation, sewage, sludge, synthetic fertilizers, prohibited pesticides, and genetically modified organisms cannot be used. So, you cannot be organic if you break any of these rules. Then, my colleagues will talk a little bit more about pesticides when we get to it.
Point of information. You talked about your sensitivity to the environment. Organic yields have up to 34% lower yields than conventional and transgenic, according to a study by Kansas State University. That means you would need more land to produce the same amount of food as conventional and transgenic farms, resulting in widespread deforestation and biodiversity loss, thus undermining the supposed environmental benefits of organic practices. So how are you more sustainable considering that you have such low yields and you are just as harmful to the environment?
A study reviewing 154 growing seasons worth of data on various crops on rain-fed and irrigated land in the United States, the University of California, Davis, found that organic corn yields were 94% of conventional yields, organic wheat yields were 97%, and organic soybean yields were 94%, which is only a little bit less than conventional.
Point of information. According to 2013 research by Michelle Powell-Smith at Livestrong, organic farming allows for less productivity per acre of land farmed than conventional industrial farming methods. How do you expect to feed the world if you can't work fast enough to catch up with the growing hungry population?
According to the Rodale Institute, after initial decline in yields during the first few years of transition, the organic system soon rebounded to match and in some cases surpassed the conventional system. All right, back to soil. These 3 organic fertilizers add organic matter to the soil, which contains many nutrients. It also improves the structure of the soil so that it can retain water better and not contaminate the groundwater nearby.
You claim organic farming is beneficial to the environment, yet according to the Scientific American in 2013, compost used in organic farming attracts small microbes that can cause carbon in the soil to be released in large quantities, which, if the whole world were to rely on organic farming, will become a huge contributor to global warming.
While organic fertilizer does release some carbon dioxide, the bigger issue here is clear cutting, which conventional farming practices, not organic. Trees sequester carbon dioxide when you cut them down, and that carbon dioxide, which was stored in the trees, is now in the atmosphere. According to the National Academy of Sciences in the United States, agricultural deforestation accounts for 2,200 to 6,600 million tons of carbon dioxide per year. All right. Unlike synthetic fertilizers that conventional agriculture uses, organic fertilizers release nutrients steadily
Point of
so that
information.
fertilizer application isn't as frequent.
According to Harry Hoiting, a professor of plant pathology at Ohio State University, overuse of organic manure compost can lead to soil salinization, ammonia poisoning, and high levels of organic acids, which can all lead to plant death. Combined with low yields and natural crop failure, the word sustainable doesn't really jump out when hearing organic.
According to the Rodale Institute, compost increases water holding capacity of the soil, and so that does not allow runoff to occur as easily. Runoff is a huge problem with synthetic fertilizers that conventional uses, and that can cause cultural eutrophication, which kills fish. So organic fertilizers don't cause that runoff, so then you're still being sustainable and you're still helping the environment by not contributing to cultural eutrophication.
Point of information. The regulatory body for organic non-synthetic pesticides is the National Organic Program, which is a marketing service, not a food safety program. These are just some of the examples of USDA-approved conventional and organic pesticides and fertilizers, which are corrosive, damage the nervous system, and can even cause death. How is this considered sustainable?
I'm not talking about that subject right now. I'm talking about soil. All right. So in fertile soil that organic farming promotes, you can find organisms such as earthworms and bacteria living there. These decomposers help break down organic matter into nutrients. According to the chief scientist at the Rodale Institute, 1 teaspoon of compost-rich organic soil may hold as many as 600 million to 1 billion helpful bacteria from over 1,500 species, while 1 teaspoon of soil treated with chemicals, which is what conventional farming practices, may carry as few as 100 helpful bacteria. Obviously, organic farming protects soil fertility.
The synthetic pesticides have been in use since the late 1940s. They were originally used in chemical warfare. Pesticides that were once used to destroy forests and kill people in Vietnam have been developed and are now being put on our plates in the so-called healthy fruits and vegetables we eat every day. I'm not a big vegetable eater, so if I'm going to eat vegetables, I want them to actually provide me with something of value. These synthetic pesticides are doing the opposite of what fruits and vegetables are supposed to do. A study released in May 2010 by scientists from the University of Montreal and Harvard found that exposure to pesticide residue on these so-called healthy fruits and vegetables may double a child's risk of ADHD. According to the Canadian Association of Physicians for the Environment, children exposed to pesticides have higher rates in leukemia, brain cancer. And this exposure in pregnant women causes more miscarriages. These pesticide-infested fruits and vegetables are fed to people every day, and most people have no idea what is really being put into their bodies. There is a way to change this, to stop the infestation, the killing that synthetic pesticides cause, and that is only through organic farming.
You claimed earlier that organic produces healthier produce. However, a recent study conducted at Stanford University analyzed over 237 categories of organic produce in a wide variety of fruits and vegetables, and concluded that organic foods do not have a higher nutritional content than conventionally grown produce.
According to Washington State University, organic foods have 17% more antioxidants than conventional foods. A group of compounds known as flavonoids, for example, were 69% higher in the organic produce.
For your information. In January of this year, BBC News addressed a recent innovation, GM purple tomatoes, stating that the purple pigment in them contains anthocyanin, an antioxidant found in blueberries. According to Harvard Medical School, in 2013, anthocyanin has shown to fight cancer and reduce high blood pressure. So how can you say that your food is most healthy, especially when we actually have the ability to enrich food with such high nutrients such as anthocyanin?
These, as I said before, there's been studies released that show that these pesticides cause ADHD and other harmful things. Okay. Reviewing 41 published studies comparing the nutritional value of organically grown and conventionally grown fruits, vegetables, and grains. Certified nutrition specialist Virginia Worthington concluded there were significantly more of several nutrients in organic crops. These included 27% more vitamin C, 21.1% more iron, 29.3% more magnesium, and 13.6% more phosphorus. In addition, organic products have 15.1% less nitrates than their conventional counterparts. These pesticide-infested fruits and vegetables are fed to people every day, and most people have no idea what is being put into their bodies.
Point of information. Since you stated that, it is true that organically labeled produce can have trace amounts of synthetic pesticides, and all non-synthetic pesticides that are allowed to be used on organic crops cause severe health problems to the workers, which are not protected because they are in other countries. Therefore, the non-synthetic pesticides that you are proclaiming that organic is allowed to use only are actually sometimes more harmful than the synthetic pesticides confined to conventional use.
Addressing one of the organic pesticides we use, pyrethrum, organisms must consume about 1% of their own body weight for pyrethrum to cause significant harm. For example, a 150-pound person would have to eat 1.5 pounds for it to cause any harm or significant mortality rate. This is according to Colorado State University.
New information. According to the Center for Sustaining Agriculture and Natural Resources in 2012, most of the large organic farms in the United States do in fact use synthetic fertilizers to establish a heavy fixation of nitrogen in their soil, and organic farms consciously use manure from non-organic farms to fertilize their crops. This means that they're using waste from cows that are fed pesticide-ridden feed as well as GMO feed, in turn putting those pesticides on their so-called natural foods. You are knowingly putting chemicals in your organic crops.
Under the National Organic Program rule, a grower must use other forms of pest control before they can resort to organic pesticides. And the process of using organic pesticides is regulated, strictly monitored, and documented. So using these organic pesticides are a last resort.
Point of information. According to the USDA in 2012, they require that 3 years go by without synthetic pesticides being sprayed on a land that will have organic food grown on it. Yet many of these chemicals actually persist and biomagnify in nature, meaning that they will stay in the soil, water, and plants for up to 20 plus years. How can you say that that's sustainable when those trace amounts are actually in the soil where organic food is grown?
Yeah. If every farmer converted to organic production, we could eliminate 500 million pounds of persistent and harmful pesticides from entering the environment annually. The next thing that needs to be addressed is water. Water is something we use every day. We need it to survive. We need it to live comfortable lives.
Between the years 1990 and 2001, over 10,000 people fell ill due to the E. coli bacteria contaminated in their produce. The Journal of Food Protection found in one study that E. coli bacteria was present in 10% of organic samples and only 2% of conventional ones.
The use of energy directly contributes to the effects agriculture has on climate change. According to the Rodale Institute, organic farms use 75% less fossil fuel than conventional agriculture. And if we completely switched over to organic practices, we could sequester more than 100% of our current carbon emissions. Time for tablet.
Organic agriculture promotes biodiversity through a handful of polyculture techniques. The Rodale Institute in 2004 stated that the more life it supports, the more variation it has. That variation means competition, which regulates population into healthy numbers. Diversity creates competition, and competition prevents any single pest or disease from being out of control. Biodiversity is seen both in nature and agriculture. Organic farms support, on average, a third more species than conventional farms, written in the Journal of Applied Technology in 2014. Building up a soil's life and diversity is the foundation of a good system, and this is done by planting a variety of crops in one area. Biodiversity encompasses diversity of life on all levels. Diversity of species, genetic diversity, as well as diversity of the surrounding environment. On average, there are 50% more species of pollinators on organic farms compared to conventional farms. That includes more species of butterflies and wild bees, stated in the Journal of Applied Ecology in 2014. Organic farms also support 75% more plant species.
You talk about how you support biodiversity and many species, yet according to Scientific American in 2013, research done at Michigan State University found organic farming to emit just as much nitrous oxide emissions as conventional farming, which accounts for 75% of all U.S. nitrous oxide emissions and has 200 times the global warming potential as CO2. How is it possible that you can support a whole bunch of species if you're killing the planet?
Well, I was not talking about nitrous oxide, but all process of farming require land. But alternative methods of organics significantly harm the surrounding environment and wildlife, while organic welcomes it. Comparisons in Switzerland and England show that the promotion of semi-natural areas on organic farms are higher than on conventional farms. An analysis of all Swiss farms show that on average, organic farms have 22% more semi-natural areas than conventional farms with only 13%. This means that organic farms support more trees, while conventional farms cut them down, releasing CO2 and nitrous oxide into the environment.
Point of information. Prior to 2007, the USDA allowed organic farms to grow genetically modified crops. But due to public outcry, this was made illegal. What this shows is that organic foods can be grown in a genetically modified way with still using the sustainable practices that organic proponents support.
Okay, well, Organic farms are able to support a large variety of crops through polyculture. Polyculture focuses on mimicking natural systems by establishing multiple species in one area. It is common knowledge that different species need different nutrients. Because of this, when a variety of plants are planted in one area, it makes better use of the soil nutrients and prevents problems such as pests. Integrated pest management, or IPM, is an alternative and ecologically sensitive method of pest control commonly used in organic farming. Research done at Ohio State University showed that polyculture systems have fewer pest problems. Another study conducted by the University of Santa Cruz in 1987 in 4 different locations compared polycultures of collard greens and green beans grown in Santa Cruz, Brussels sprouts and fava beans grown in Albany, and corn and cowpeas grown in Davis. Each organic farm had a corresponding monoculture farm. Researchers were able to compare the occurrence of pests, performance of natural control agents, weed competition, and potential yield. Regarding the prevalence of pests, researchers concluded that intercropping plants, host and non-host, significantly reduced the number of plant-feeding insects. Polycultures can be done in a variety of ways. Rotating crops is one method that provides productivity benefits by improving soil nutrients levels and breaking crop pest cycles, said the USDA in 2013. Crop rotation, combined with intercropping, integrated crop tree systems, removal of synthetic fertilizers, and the creation of habitats, attracts pest enemies and pollinators, and thus decreases the risk of crop failure. Do we want to grow our food by slicing fish genes and tomatoes? Do we want to feed the world by spraying endless chemicals? No, we want to feed the world sustainably. We want to protect our water and preserve our clean air. We want to live on a planet that can support fish spawning and birds breeding. We live on an incredible planet that is capable of supporting numerous ecosystems and endless numbers of species. It is the human race that is depleting our natural resources and altering the environment around us. In order for us to survive, we must grow food. In order for the planet to survive, we must do it sustainably. Without the resources of clean air and clean water, we will fail to grow enough food, and with time, the planet will not be able to support us at all. In order to keep our food production from potentially being grown in a lab, we need to keep our planet healthy enough to sustain food production at all. And although many methods have the potential to feed the world, organic is the only sustainable and long-term option. Organic agriculture is a production system that sustains the health of soils, ecosystems, and surrounding species. It relies on ecological processes, biodiversity, and cycles adapted to local conditions, rather than the use of inputs with adverse effects. We combine tradition and innovation and science to benefit the shared environment and promote fair relationships and a good quality of life for all species involved. Organic agriculture has the potential to positively impact climate change. A decreased input of water and energy, as well as the elimination of synthetic pesticides, along with the expansion of biodiversity and soil fertility, can and will lower the annual input of water, energy, and chemicals into agriculture. It is predicted that there will be 9 billion people in the world by 2050. The recurring question is, how will we feed 9 billion people? While conventional farming leaches nutrients from the soil, puts a strain on our water supplies, and relies heavily on fossil fuels to make it work, organic farms builds better, more self-sufficient land, creates cleaner water, recycles nutrients, and leaves us with a cleaner atmosphere.